Pranams Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste Guruji. So today I would like to discuss about the module 6, a case study in lesson 6, where the young lady was very much aware of her jealousy and envy. So in this particular module, in this particular study, I would like to you to help us to understand more about this jealousy and envy, and how to actually look at that problem. Because here the lady has been sharing that with her husband, not only with her husband and her children, she was with anything. Anybody has more than what she has. She goes into the jealousy. She's very aware of that jealousy. She's very aware of that envy. And she has come to the world master, Krishnamurti, to actually find a solution to her envy and jealousy. And so first of all, I would like you to explain this whole problem of envy and jealousy that is happening in the society and in our in individual also, at the microcosmic level as well. How should people actually look at this jealousy? Because whenever there is a jealousy, the natural tendency is to run away from it, or to hide it, or to suppress it, not to show that in front of the people.
Right.
So how should one actually go about with maybe embracing that jealousy or envy?
Okay, you have asked an extremely good question and a very deep question, which is usually not answered.
Yes, Guruji.
In commensurate depth. It's not answered.
Yes, Guruji.
Now, to begin with, in one of the previous podcasts, Kannanji had asked me about the difference between envy and jealousy.
Yes, Guruji.
And I glossed over it. I didn't take it up for a detailed thing because there was a pressure that I should complete it in a certain time.
Yes, Guruji.
But now I like to begin with that distinction between envy and jealousy.
Yes, Guruji.
Now, envy is you have 3 cars. I am your neighbor.
Yes, Guruji.
And I have only 1 car. So I want to have what you have and what I don't have.
Yes, Guruji.
I don't have 3 cars.
Yes.
So I want to appear big in other people's eyes. And I want to gain some kind of social recognition.
Yes.
So I'm envious of you.
Yes, Guruji.
That's the meaning of envy.
Right.
And
so is there some kind of resentment that the other person has and I do not?
There is actually a tinge of jealousy woven into envy.
Yes, Guruji.
That is, I don't like you to possess 3 cars. That's the actual feeling.
Yes.
Myself is so divisive.
Yes, Guruji.
And so envious that you should not be successful, I should be successful. You should not have 3 cars, I should have 3 cars. That's the mentality of the self.
Yes, Guruji.
So that's envy.
Yes,
so
Guruji.
I want to have what you have, and maybe more than what you have.
Yes, Guruji.
That's envy. Now, jealousy is a slightly different phenomenon. Usually people don't distinguish between these 2 words, envy and jealousy. Jealousy, let us say that I'm a woman and you're my husband.
Yes, Guruji.
So then I'm always, if some other woman comes and talks to you, either on the phone or she comes home and you talk to her very freely,
Yes, Guruji.
then I feel insecure.
I feel insecure.
I feel insecure
Yes.
because I'm very possessive of you because you're my husband.
Yes, Guruji.
I'm extremely possessive. I don't want you to beam that love to anybody else other than myself.
So that possessiveness, that feeling of possessiveness is causing that jealousy?
Insecurity. Yeah.
And from that insecurity comes that that feeling.
Yeah, that feeling. So I don't want you to talk to another woman.
Yes,
I mean, this is taking the example of a husband and a wife.
Yes, Guruji.
But suppose, let's say, business partner. We are both business partners.
Even friends.
Even friends. And let's say that I'm very possessive of you as my friend.
Yes, Guruji.
And you are a lovely escape for me. I'm deficient in myself. I don't feel good about myself. So you fill that void within me. You fill that gap.
Yes.
But when you talk well of another friend of yours, then I don't like it.
Yes.
Because he is stealing your affection. He or she is stealing your affection, whereas
I want it.
I want to steal that affection.
So the desire is there.
Desire is there.
To possess it, but you cannot possess it.
You cannot.
And that is where that feeling.
That is that feeling of jealousy.
Yes, Guruji. And many places in the society, whether it is in relationships individually or on personal relationships, or it could be business, it could be in the society when we gather with people, there's always that sense of this envy and jealousy is always there.
It's always there.
And
you're right.
So nobody, I mean, people know that they have that, but that uncomfortable feeling, in a way they want it and they don't want it. That is, the discomfort of it
is there
in the self is there. But there is also a pleasure in feeling that jealous and envy. Both can, because they are feeling that resentment that the other person has it and I do not, and there is some kind of a pleasure in destroying the other person's. No, Guruji, that kind of a feeling, whether they do it or not, but that feeling is there.
Yeah, competitiveness that you don't, nobody else should steal your affection.
Right, Guruji.
Only I should have a monopoly on that.
Right.
And it's a very competitive game.
Yes, Guruji.
And coming directly from my emotional insecurity. I feel tremendously insecure.
Yes,
and
Guruji.
therefore I latch on to you. I'm attached to you.
Yes.
I'm possessive of you.
Yes.
And by latching on to you, by attaching myself to you, and by stealing your affection,
Yes.
I fill my void.
So Sri J. Krishnamurti is asking us to look at it without, because as he's going forward, he's describing this lady about the culture in which we live. And which encourages all these feelings, all these, to stay in those kind of feelings. Right, Guruji? So the world master is, the world teacher is asking us to actually become aware of that culture. Is that what
You're asking very good questions. True.
Is
true.
the idea.
Actually, nobody would say this, because when somebody goes to a counselor's table, for example,
Yes.
And you're a counselor yourself,
Yes,
so you know quite a lot about that whole ambience,
Yes, Guruji.
and that whole atmosphere,
Yes, Guruji.
where you seek help from a counselor.
Yes, Guruji.
So they will deal only with the individual. They will not show you the broader picture where your so-called individual problem is actually created by society. So Krishnamurti is showcasing the fact that your so-called individual problem is actually has got its roots in the way society is structured.
So the world teacher is asking us to look at that problem, but not giving a solution. Whereas when it's very natural when we recognize the envy, when we recognize the jealousy. So people say that, okay, I have this jealousy, like the lady was telling. Yes, I have envy, I have this jealousy, and I cannot, when people have a better garden or a better dress, then I am not able to stand with it. So people have that, and in the very young time, it was silly, but it was good at that time. But now it seems very silly. She does not know how to come out of it.
Right.
So the question here is, how do we come out of this? She's trying to come out of it. And here the world teacher is only describing the problem, not giving a solution.
Yeah, true.
So how do we actually work with this problem? How do we look into that?
Okay, you've asked an extremely relevant question. And usually because you're a counselor, somebody comes to you.
Yes, correct.
And let's assume that theoretically they are saying that I have this enormous problem of jealousy.
Yes, correct.
And it's been there from the time I was a small girl.
Yes.
And now it's become unbearable.
Unbearable.
It's become of Himalayan proportions. So I'm going mad.
Yes.
So what should I do?
Yes, Guruji.
Now, usually people are so unaware of the inner life
Yes, Guruji.
that they say, what am I to do about it? And they want you to suggest some quick fix
Quick
solution.
fix. Yes.
Solution.
They want some steps so
And they
that I
want
can
to
come out
they
of
want to banish that problem,
Yes.
that burden,
Yes, yes,
that
Guruji.
conflict,
Yes.
and be free of it. But Krishnamurti is giving a very important sutra here. He is saying, when you have a problem, you should never talk of the solution. Never talk of the solution.
Yes,
You
Guruji.
should only be closeted with the problem. You should be married to the problem. You should embrace the problem. You should incubate on the problem.
Yes,
That is enough.
That is enough.
That is enough.
Okay.
From that will come everything.
Okay, so there is no separate solution he's suggesting, but that is the new approach.
First and last step, that is.
Yes, Guruji.
You've got to become intimate with the problem
Yes, Guruji.
and not search for a solution.
Yes, Guruji.
And the whole idea of searching for a solution is to not understand the problem.
Not understand the problem. Yes, yes. Because she said that she's been to psychologists and temporarily it gave her some relief.
Yeah.
But again, it begins the whole
Problem begins again.
envy and
Yes.
whole jealousy. That whole feeling comes back again.
Right.
So therefore, so she's coming with that kind of a problem and asking for that solution.
Correct.
So one step that to looking at the problem. Now we want to go into looking. We understood what is envy and jealousy. We understood that we are not trying to get rid of it,
Right.
and the world teacher is asking us to look into it.
Right.
So now looking into it, how do we look into it? What goes into that whole state of awareness, if you want to call it, or that where do we pay attention to the whole series? Because there are, if we break down the envy and jealousy, as we said, the feeling of the pain, right, resentment, the attachment, the possessiveness, all those things are there.
Right.
So that feeling, do we hold on to that feeling?
You must assume that you are an animal scientist. Assume
Yes, Guruji.
that you've got a couple of dogs or cats in your laboratory.
Yes, Guruji.
You study animal behavior, let us say.
Yes.
And so what will you do as a scientist? So you'll watch the animal behavior without disturbing the animals, without interfering too much with their whatever their patterns of behavior are. You'll watch.
Yes.
So similarly, you've got to watch here, and you've got to banish from your mind the whole idea that you should search for a solution. That's very important.
Very important. Okay, because the mind, first of all, goes into that, right? It runs to the finding a solution.
It thinks that you will get a solution.
So how do one not go with that, run with that, with that thought process?
Okay.
And just how do we stay with it?
Okay. Very good question. Very good question. So, having seen that the mind has got a tendency to not face the problem,
Yes, Guru.
because that is new to the culture of the mind. Nobody told the self or the mind
Yes, Guru.
that you've got to face the problem, you've got to deal only with the problem, you've got to only look at the problem, and you're not to think about any solution. Nobody told that. Nobody gave that teaching.
Yes, Guruji.
So for the first time, is getting it.
Yes, Guruji.
So you've got to get accustomed to that. Krishnamurti's proposition that you should only be in an embrace with the problem, and then you've got to watch how consciousness is moving and acting
Yes.
in that arena of the problem. And then you will find that there is a revelation which comes by close observation, and it's not very hard. You'll find out that you're jealous because of your insecurity, fundamental insecurity. You are insecure within yourself.
Yes, Guruji.
So you don't want your husband or your two children you have,
Yes,
and you don't want them to love anybody. You don't want them to talk to anybody.
Yes, Guruji.
is as bad as that.
Yes,
And you're watching all of that. And so your whole attention will now shift from the so-called problem of jealousy
Yes, Guruji.
to the problem of emotional security within yourself, how you feel within yourself.
Yes, Guruji.
Whether you feel robust and strong and well,
Yes, Guruji.
or whether you feel ill
Yes, Guruji.
and insecure. So,
So
got to
there
pursue
is
the whole thing.
there is a can I say there's a spectrum of people. I mean, in this particular case, this lady seemed to be quite aware that she has this feeling and she wants to get rid of it. But there could also be a spectrum where there are people who have these fleeting envious and jealousy thoughts
Right.
and they brush it away, or they live with it, unknowing, right? Unknowing. And then there's the other extreme which we see here. So there could be a spectrum.
Of course, that's what mainstream society is, as
Yes,
Krishnaji is pointing out, that the whole lot of people. And why is it so? Because you have not understood the social dynamics. If you want to understand social dynamics,
Yes, yes,
then it will automatically take you to another area called psychodynamics.
Yes,
That is what is happening within your own consciousness.
Consciousness.
Because society is nothing but a network of relationships.
Yes, Guruji.
So what is happening in that arena of relationships? So very complex forces are happening. And it's all about the self.
Yes, Guruji.
What is the self trying to get at?
Yes, Guruji.
And is the self feeling well or is it feeling ill?
Ill.
So the social dynamics will shift to personal psychodynamics.
Yes.
And personal psychodynamics will shift into sociodynamics,
Oh.
social dynamics. And then you find that you're insecure and you'll find that you're lonely. You're feeling lonely.
Lonely.
So the root of that jealousy, the root of that envy is that you have no sense of inner wellness.
So that illness that we call, where the world teacher is calling it as a disease. He says there's a disease here. So that illness, it creates a lot of commotion, lot of discomfort within. And here the teaching or the approach that the world teacher is giving us is to not run away from it, but to stay with it.
Yeah.
That is a very difficult thing to do, because one is the mind is constantly fighting to run away from it. Then if you stay with it, it is not going away, because there is an expectation from within for it to go away. Right? Yes, Guruji. So then this jealousy can also become anger.
Of course.
And resentment.
Of course.
And what the teaching is asking us to do is to stay with it.
Is to watch it.
For how long?
That question smacks of the desire to find a solution, which is counterproductive.
Got it.
So you should not ask
So
that
we're
solution.
not for how long?
No.
As long as it is there,
Necessary.
as it is necessary, you stay with that commotion, you stay with that discomfort, you stay with that pain, and even though the mind is asking you to run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
The-
You've got to
the
learn.
the in thing right now in spiritual circles and in spiritual jargon is to watch yourself. Right? We hear that quite a lot. Now, so that's it's in the minutiae where like you, because again, once again, a spectrum of how we are able to watch our feelings. Sometimes we are aware of this jealousy, but we are constantly. It's like you're chasing after this. You're chasing after it, trying to bring it to a resolution.
Resolution.
And so I wanted to get an idea as to when you say watching, what do we mean? Can you please tell me in depth?
Yeah, you see, watching means it's exactly like, as I said, take the example of an animal behavior scientist is watching the behavior of animals, and he should not meddle with the animals. He should just watch impartially how their conditioning works and how whatever you offer them, food or whatever it is, what is their response to it and so on. So similarly, you keep watching, and then you will discover yourself that your jealousy is a symptom of something, a deeper malaise It's symptomatic of a deeper malaise. And what is that malaise? That you've got an unwellness within yourself, which is loneliness. So, you open the book of jealousy. Page 1 is over. Page 1 was jealousy.
Yes, Guruji.
Now, page 2 is loneliness.
Yes, Guruji.
So, your loneliness. Now, you've got to watch that loneliness. And you've got to, not with the intention to solve the problem. No, then you're not going to go deeper. You won't be able to go deeper.
Yes, Guruji.
But that loneliness you should just watch. And you will watch if there is some amount of understanding. You will start watching.
Right.
And then you will go deeper. And unfortunately, we don't have too much of time in each of these conversations.
Yes, Guruji.
But maybe we can continue in a later conversation. So,
Okay, Guruji. I want to talk about more about the comparison and competition
We
that,
will,
that
yeah.
happens in the society.
yeah, we will do that.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yeah, thank you very much, both of you.